It's absurd as a concept. It's even more absurd when you try to nut it up in a pithy headline. But there it is, in black and white. Cyber ninjas hired by Arizona Senate to recount Maricopa County's ballots asks court to keep its procedures secret. Despite a court order to spell out in detail exactly what they're doing, exactly how they are conducting a so-called audit of all of the presidential election ballots in Maricopa County, which is 2/3 of the ballots in that state, more than 2 million presidential ballots. The QAnon promoting, Stop the Steal promoting, conspiracy theorist firm hired by Arizona Republicans to run this audit, to go through all the ballots and see what they can find. That firm told an Arizona court this weekend they will not disclose the trade secrets of how exactly they are recounting the ballots from the 2020 election in Arizona, or what, in fact, they are doing with those ballots now that they've got their hands on them. That case was brought by the Arizona Democratic Party, which has been asking the court to stop this audit, which they say is illegal. Among other things, it's violating state laws about the sanctity and security of ballots. They will be back in court tomorrow morning, but meanwhile, this supposed audit continues on with no press access and no independent observation whatsoever, so nobody really knows what they're doing behind closed doors. Joining us now is Rupali Desai. She is the attorney representing Arizona Democrats who are trying to stop this election audit. Ms. Desai, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So there is a pronounced crescendo of national interest in what is happening in your case and in this situation in Arizona as the days have gone by. And I think the country has cottoned to the fact that they are trying to do something with the presidential ballots from Arizona from 2020 that raises serious concerns about whether the election is being messed with. What do you think a national audience should understand? Are there misconceptions in the national coverage of this matter thus far?
Well, I think that even the people here in Arizona are not entirely sure what is happening with this audit. For weeks and weeks, there have been efforts to get information about the policies, the procedures, the steps that are being taken to safeguard and secure the ballots and election equipment that have now come into the possession of this audit firm, Cyber Ninjas. And everybody's asking these questions, and there really aren't any answers. And to the extent that there is some legitimate purpose to audit ballots from the 2020 election, no one's quite certain what they're looking for, what kinds of things they're trying to uncover. And most importantly, sort of from my perspective and from my client's perspective, we're really concerned about the long-term impact that a so-called audit like this that has no protections and safeguards in place really does to the overall erosion of public trust in our elections.
It's sort of dog biting its own tail in a way. They've claimed that public doubts about the integrity of the election justify some sort of review like this. And then the review is conducted in such a way that legitimately does risk the compromise of the ballots themselves and the certified election result that's already been effectuated in terms of Arizona having its electoral votes counted. Do you believe that the judge's order that the recount needs to be conducted in accordance with state law, do you believe that order has teeth and that's changed anything in terms of their caution or the way that they're approaching this?
Well, let me take your first question first. I think it absolutely has teeth when a judge has to order parties to follow the law. That is meaningful. And frankly, we all are expected to follow the law. When the court heard arguments from the parties last week and entered its order requiring all of the defendants and their agents to comply with the law, that's critical, that's important. And so, yes, I do think it has teeth. Whether or not that has changed the behavior or impacted the actual work that's occurring, I'm not so sure about. And that's something that we're going to be asking the court to look at. The other part of the order that I think is really critical is the judge ordered Cyber Ninjas to produce documents that reflect the security measures that they're adopting to show that they have, in fact, trained audit workers who are handling the ballots and the equipment. And as you mentioned earlier, Rachel, those documents have not been produced, even though it was ordered by a court. There were no objections made or about trade secrets or other concerns about producing those documents at the time the judge made the order. But when they were due to the parties and to the court yesterday, they were not made. And instead, they filed a motion asking the court not to force them to provide those and claiming things like trade secrets and other security issues. And I think, in terms of the double standard here, you have a firm that's acting as an agent of the state. They're using taxpayer dollars to conduct this audit, in addition to third-party funding that's coming in from we don't know where. But if you're asking the taxpayers to pay for this audit, then they ought to know what is happening, and they ought to be able to feel secure that their ballots and equipment and other items that are involved in elections are safeguarded appropriately.
Rupali Desai, the attorney representing Arizona Democrats, trying to stop the private company doing this audit at the behest of Arizona Senate Republicans. Ms. Desai, thanks for helping us understand. I know that this battle sort of continues in the courts in Arizona. Please keep us apprised. We'd love to have you back.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you. What Ms. Desai just said there about funding this thing is also another really interesting part of this story. Arizona Republicans say this whole thing is costing $150,000, and that's how much taxpayer money they're putting into it. The company that's doing it, this QAnon conspiracy theory, Stop the Steal company, is also, though, accepting private funding to conduct this, and they won't say where it's from. One of the entities that has been raising private funding to pay for what's happening to the ballots in Arizona is this Trump TV network, One America News. Their reporters who are working on the story have been raising money to pay for the audit. And then they are also the only ones who are allowed to cover it by being in the room. Seems totally kosher, right? That's the way we do things. Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.